I te atianga nei te ngāti te neo e te pati atu i tō tātou whaarara mua i roto i te rā motu mea. Ko e katoa te tei me tāko i taeko i tupu e teia no tātou o te mea. Kāre e nā pōne ki ua e akararangi i tō tātou o mitua. Nā tātou i akarana nei te katoa tō tātou mata i ko nei mata o te kawamani no tātou i roto i te tuato. I'd like to, and very humbled indeed, to invite the Honourable Alfred Ngaro to please come forward and address us. Thank you, Alfred.
Me mo kia rana tātou kātoto o tōna mātou tītua. Te atu paku o tītua, te mitaki mātou o tītua. Tō tātou oieriki, e pā kia rana kia koe. Tō tātou waine ake titi, tō tātou Cook Island Consulate General, Mama Rosie Blake, kia rana. Te au tāwini o tītua, i tō koroa, kia rana koutou kātoto. Te kōpu tangata o inu o manu, kia rana kia koe, no tūmora mai koutou kia tātou ki roto tia pone. Tia pee, ko ape i au, ki aruura, pene tia pee no inu o manu. Taku manu nui, taku manu rai. Taku manu karere tau iti ki ronga ki tukirau. Oki mai, oki mai, oki mai. Tia tō tātou translation. O big bird, O little bird, fly away to the four corners of the winds, but one day return back to us, return back to your home. Ko mai te kai toko ngā kou, e tia pone. My heart is heavy today. Ko ano rai ko te New Zealand nei, toko mama e mama rite te paki no arotanga. Even though I was born here in New Zealand, my grandmother, Mama Rite, taught me and gave me the sense of what it meant to be a Cook Islander. And in that sense, as I grew up, there were times when kare tātou e api i te reo. Te tangata pakari, e autara kai te tātou, ka autara koe te reo. Oh, papa, kare tātou e autara te reo. Oh, is kare koe te tamariki e kuke ane. Ko koe te tamariki e New Zealand mo. So in that journey of trying to discover who we were, and they would say, who are you and what defines you as being Cook Island? Is it the speaking of your language? Is it the hula? Is it the fact that you wear a t-shirt or to tātou pāriu? I don't think that's what it is. Because you see that P.E. said this, that one day we will fly out to the four corners, and as we fly away from our home, we then lose a little bit of who we are. But then this is what happens, then we need to return back home. Part of that returning back home is when we call out people to come. There are times in our lives where I think we ask ourselves the questions, the meaning of life, and to whom do we belong? Aka te tangata, te tamaine, te tamariki. Te te huianga. This is the question of all the young men and young Cook Islanders that are out there. To who am I and to whom do I belong? You see, the answer lies in you and I. Are we willing to accept them for who they are? Because if we do, then they find that sense of what it means to be Cook Island. Today I'm proud to be Cook Island. And here's the reasons why. There are times in our lives I think that we do lots of things and we wonder whether there's a moment in our life where we know that this is the right thing that you should be and you should do. And often people say, do you enjoy being a politician? Do you enjoy being a member of parliament? And I said, well, that's an interesting question. Because most of the times, people don't trust you. They think you're tiwari-wari all the time, that you're lying all the time. They look at everything you do in your life and they say to you, geez, can we trust that person? Are they saying the right things? Do they do the right things for us? And so your whole life is in a bubble. Everyone looking at you. But you know, I have to say this, that I believe that I'm in the right place at the right time, not because I chose, but I believe because God chose me to be here. And here's one of those times where I know that it's the right time. Toko Wayne, Wayne Apa Nui. She's half Samoan and half Niuean. No te tangata Niue, they keep claiming me as a Niue. So for the last 2 years, I've been going to the Niue Anzac Day service at East Tamaki Primary School. The first time I went there in 2012, maybe 300. The next year, nearly 500. I looked around and I said, these Niue people are proud to acknowledge the fact of their 147 soldiers that went to World War I from the island of Niue, from the villages of Mutuno, Avasele, Alofi, and they went there to World War I and they fought. Tōku huianga, my question was this: is there anyone out there celebrating our Cook Island? Papa Tiki Matapo. I asked Papa Tiki, is there any celebration that you know? He said no. I asked everyone. No one had a celebration. As I began to look at the research, then I began to discover that in World War I, from 1915 to 1917, over 500 Cook Islanders were conscripted. You see, what happened is this. In 1915, in August, and in Anzac and in Gallipoli, there were huge losses. Over that period of time, there was over 100,000 New Zealanders that went to war. During that period of 8 months, there were only 40,000 that returned. So when they had those losses, they had to get more. So Maui Pomare was the Minister of Native Affairs. Ngāti Porou were not going to let more of their men go to war. They already had the Māori Pioneer Battalion. So he went to Rarotonga and he went to Niue. In Niue, he conscripted 147 Niueans. In Rarotonga, over a period from 1915 to 1917, nearly 500. So my question was this: have we forgotten them? I think we did. So I began to talk to more people and we began to sort of say that we should do this. We should do as the Niueans have done. We should have a moment in time where we acknowledge and remember our Cook Island men who went to war. So Aparana Ngata said to his Māori people when they were complaining. And just down the road here is Te Puia Memorial Marae. Because Princess Te Puia was against them going to war for different reasons. Whatever it was, so Aparana Ngata said this: there is a price to citizenship. In other words, if we pay this price, then no one can take away the right that we have to have a say in this country. For our Cook Island, there were 500 of us that have been forgotten. But what was the sacrifice that they made when they went to war? And so that you and I could have a voice, and no one can take that away from us. That's the legacy they have left behind. So that this generation and the next generation to come will remember this. for what they have given. And as we celebrated Easter, the simple message was this: from the life of one, many were saved. So from the life of 500, many were saved and now have a choice today. You and I have a choice today because of the sacrifice that they have made. No one can take that away from us. So simply what we have done is to tell our people to wake up, to listen, to recall again the memories that have gone before us. Next year is the 100th celebration. We want to be able to celebrate that. We want our people to be able to acknowledge that. We want to take our place alongside those New Zealand men and women who served, so we can be proud to be Cook Island. Today it is a proud day for us to be Cook Island. I can tell you this: when we were down in Wellington last week at the commemorative service in the Cook Island Community Hall in Porirua, Cannons Creek, there were nearly 400 Cook Islanders. Do you know what the mama said? Gee, we don't even get this many people for the bingo. Another papa said this: you know, when I look around this room, I see many Cook Island who have never come to our community things before. All of a sudden, the different manus, the different birds, the different people of the different generation, your children, your grandchildren, have come back and are coming back because tō tātou tūpuna, ko autara kai tō tātou tūpuna, they are speaking to us to unite us for a moment in time so that they will not be forgotten. And that is the purpose of what we are doing today. This is not a political thing. This is not even one sense trying to do anything else but to acknowledge our people, our place and our time. I just want to finish by reading out one more thing. And this is a message because the Governor General, Sir Jerry Mataparai, you know, he served with many Cook Island. And here's the wonderful thing: we started off in World War I, but even now our servicemen that are here today, they are continuing on the legacy that was left behind. Many of our men today, I was at the dawn service in the War Memorial. Colonel Chris Mullane, and I spoke to him, could he acknowledge our Cook Island for the first time in 99 years, and that service that was held, our people were recognised. Our people were recognised. I went to the Te Atiu South RSA service, and when I was there, I met one of the kaumata was there, and he spoke to me in Māori. I spoke back to him in Cook Island, and he said, you know what? I served in the Māori battalion. 160 Pacific were in the Māori battalion, the 28th Māori battalion. And he said, people won't tell you that, but I served alongside your people. Right the way through, the first SAS that was established in New Zealand, there was a Cook Islander. They say from the island of Mangere, but he could have been a Mangere. Amish will like that. First SAS, there was one Cook Island that was there. All the way through, Papa Sam Samuels, who's currently the president of the Papakura RSA, he served in the SAS. Not sure what his rank was, but as I spoke to him yesterday, he wanted to be here, he couldn't, but he said this: he had a number of SAS, there was one whole platoon, they were all Cook Island. He served with Jerry Mataparai. He said, all of these people know us, but now we need to know ourselves too. We need to know ourselves too. So Jerry Mataparai, the Governor General, cannot be here. He's in Gallipoli, but he's asked me to read out this letter on his behalf to us today. This is a message for the Hawaii Nui 2014 commemorative service for our Cook Island community. Kia ora. As we approach the centenary for the First World War, the commemorative service will take on a special character in honouring the men and women who served in wars and conflicts far away from home. It is timely to recognise the role played by approximately 500 Cook Islanders who served in New Zealand Expeditionary Force and to honour the 42 servicemen who lost their lives. Army life, war and travel to Europe and the Middle East were all life-changing experiences for our Pacific and Cook Islands who took part in the First World War. The war left a lasting impact on their families and communities. Contingents came from the British colonies of Fiji, Gilbert and Ellice Islands. Individuals even from Tonga and Samoa and Tahiti also enlisted. Cook Islanders and Niueans recruited to the Māori contingent from October 1915. They served with the Māori Pioneer Battalion on the Western Front. They struggled with the cold and disease, and it also took a toll. Today, tourists who visit the famous underground cave in Arras in France can see the inscriptions left on the walls by two Cook Islanders who worked on their tunnels. A second contingent of Cook Islanders and the Rarotongan Company NZEF served in Sinai and Palestine campaigns. The Hawaii Nui 2014 commemorative service gives us an opportunity to honour the brave men from the Pacific Islands who answered the call to arms and to remember their contribution to the war effort. Lest we forget, Lieutenant General the Right Honourable Sejiri Mataparai, Governor General of New Zealand. In the last part of his letter, he talked about two Cook Islanders that were actually in the New Zealand tunnelers. When I was developing, bringing the team together, I got a call from a woman called Sue Wilson-Baker from Coromandel. She said to me, "Are you Alfred Ngaro?" And I said, "Yes." "Are you trying to find out about Cook Island World War I servicemen?" I said, "Yes. I have two of your servicemen." And I said, "What do you mean? Can I meet you?" We met together in Hamilton, and what she showed me was this, that in World War I, they had a number of engineers and tunnelers that came from Waihi and Coromandel, because that's where they did a lot of the gold mining. And they took them over to France in the Western Front so that they could dig these big caverns. And in these caves, they could accommodate for nearly 25,000 men. They were like cities underground. And they would tunnel so they could get under the Western Front to get behind enemy lines. And he said, in there were two Cook Islanders. They were part of that infantry regiment and engineers. Their names are Lance Corporal Mata Angene, 19264 from Rarotonga. Corporal Solomon Isaacs, 16-1033 from Aitutaki. These two Cook Islanders were there. You know, I said to myself, what are Cook Islanders doing digging caves? But then I thought, well, maybe they were from Mangere, because Mangere's got lots of caves. But they were there digging these caves. But she said, but Alfred, there's more. Inside those caves, they wrote on the wall of the cave. And I said, what do you mean? Those two Islanders, they wrote. And when the Governor General talks about this, because he's seen the writings that are still on the walls in France, that have got the writing on the wall. She said though, we've got a picture, but we can't translate them. Can you help us translate the writings on this wall of the cave? No one's been able to translate them. So along with Papa Tiki Matupu, we translated them. And this is what it was. It was the Lord's Prayer in Tahitian. And we know that's not uncommon, because a lot of our people also too, at times when when the Bible came out, there was also times there was translated also in Tahitian as well as Cook Island. But there was still there today are the words of the Lord's Prayer, and down they also found some shells. The archaeologists dug these shells out exactly under where the writings on the wall are, and those shells come from the Pacific. So all we can think of is that these two men, in the middle of the Western Front, thousands of miles away, the only thing they could do is to write on these walls the Lord's Prayer, and to put something that they could remember, that one day somebody would find the shell, look up on the wall, and see what they had written. These were the words that gave them comfort and hope at that time. There are many, many more stories to be told. For us as our Cook Island people, this is the beginning of calling us back together again, uniting us to remember those who have fallen from us. This is a day to be proud to be Cook Island, to be proud of those people who've gone before us. Kia rana, e ki mani.
Me taki mata e ta'o tamai te Cook Island, Alfred Ngaro. Kua oki tonu te mana o Alfred I te ngara, I te akakite mai e kāreo I konei e mama paramani, e tama Cook Island I la. And I want to acknowledge, Alfred, the fact that for the first time in 99 years, as mentioned, that our servicemen were recognised at the commemorative service this morning. For the very first time. Pōkarakara mai tātou o te rauka, tātou e Alfred. I te amaaranga tātou. I tō tātou aito o te reira tuatau.